in every chemical reaction, from the burning of a candle to the engines that power our world. One rule is always followed. Atoms are never created and never destroyed, only rearranged. Join us as we uncover the hidden balance behind the wonders of chemistry and learn the fundamental skill of how to balance a chemical equation. In 1789, French scientist Antoine Lavoisier changed our understanding of chemistry with his idea that matter was not created or destroyed during a chemical reaction, but was simply rearranged. Today, we know this as the law of conservation of mass, and it is a fundamental part of our understanding of chemical reactions. The law means that we must have the same number and type of atoms, both at the start and at the end of a chemical reaction. Because of this, when we write a reaction down, like this, it's important that we balance it to show that we have exactly the same number and type of each atom on both sides of our equation. This makes the skill of balancing a chemical equation an essential part of your chemical toolkit, and over the next 5 minutes or so, I'll teach you everything that you need to know to develop that skill. There are really two separate parts to the process of balancing equations. The first is how to count the atoms in a chemical formula. And then the second is how we adjust the equations to get the same number of each type of atom on both sides of that equation. I have a whole video on this skill which is linked above. But briefly, we have a chemical formula like this, and our first step is identifying the elements. Remembering that each symbol starts with a capital letter, and then we notice that some of the elements have small subscript numbers next to them, and some do not. The important point is that the number follows the element. And so the 2 indicates that there are 2 sodiums, and the 3 tells us that there are 3 oxygens. There isn't a number next to carbon, and that is because chemists tend not to write the number 1 in a chemical formula. The presence of the symbol alone tells us that there is at least 1 atom of that element in the formula. The example I just used, sodium carbonate, is actually one of the more complicated formulae that you might be asked to work out in an exam. In fact, in reality, there's only one more thing we need to complete this skill. Let's have a look at calcium hydroxide's formula. Notice those brackets around the O and the H. Everything inside the bracket is multiplied by the subscript number on the outside. So here we have 1 calcium, but we have 2 oxygens and 2 hydrogens. Counting the atoms in a formula is a skill that does need practice. So if you're not already confident in doing that, I really would recommend going through my other video on the topic and then completing the worksheet, which is linked here, to check your understanding. We're now going to move on and have a look at how we use that skill when we're balancing chemical equations. Balancing chemical equations will quickly become second nature for you, but at the start, I'd recommend setting your work out like this to ensure that you get it right first time. So here's our equation, and we're just going to list the atoms down here and put the numbers of them in these boxes here. So elements first. We've got sodium, oxygen, and hydrogen in the formula. Let's start with the reactants. which are always on the left-hand side of the equation. Here's the 2 sodiums, the 2 hydrogens, and then we have to count the oxygens here, and we're going to have a total of 2 oxygens. On the product side, we have 1 sodium, 1 hydrogen, and 1 oxygen. Now we get into the only real rule of this process. The chemical formulae of each of the substances cannot be changed. They are controlled and locked down by the reaction and the chemistry of the component atoms. So we can't change them at all. What we can change is how many units of the substance we make or use. And we show this by adding what we call coefficients in front of the formula of each substance. These coefficients, or balancing numbers, tell us how many units of that particular chemical we're going to use or make in the reaction. Looking at our reaction here, we can see that we need to double everything on the product side for this reaction to balance. And we can easily do that by changing the 1 in front of the sodium hydroxide to a number 2. As we can see, that has balanced all of the individual elements in one go, and so we're done. However, remember what I said about chemists not writing the number 1 in the equation. And so we can get rid of those 1s in our final equation, and it will look like this. Another way to see what's going on is to represent each atom or molecule with a model. Now, this is an antique set of scales, and we can use it along with these plastic models here to show the process in more practical terms. So here's our new equation, and I have models of methane, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and water ready to go. We can see that our equation is initially unbalanced, and if I put 1 molecule of each of the substances on the correct side of my scales here, you can see that my scales are also unbalanced as well. Now, by counting up the atoms on each side, we can see we have problems both with oxygen and hydrogen. We'll start with the hydrogen. With 4 on the left and 2 on the right, we can see that we're certainly going to need to add a second water molecule. Now, that hasn't fixed our problem, because although it sorted out the hydrogens, the oxygens are now clearly unbalanced, with 4 on this side and only 2 over there. However, if we add another oxygen molecule to this side of the equation, we can see that not only have we balanced our reaction, but we've also balanced our scales. Okay, taking a set of scales into an exam hall might prove tricky. So let's head back to our paper-based approach, and here's another example. This time we have 3 elements involved, and there's 2 fluorines in the reactants, but only 1 in the products. There's 1 potassium on each side, and for bromine, there's 1 on the reactant side, but 2 in the products. Now, it doesn't really matter where we start, so let's just look at those fluorines first. The only compound with fluorine in it on the product side is potassium fluoride, so let's have 2 units of that. Now, that's sorted fluorine, but it's knocked the potassium off balance, so we'll go for 2 potassium bromides and then recheck. And yeah, that's everything balanced. So once again, we're done. Okay, let's have a look at a really tricky one, the combustion of butane. There's our elements, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, and the initial count up of the atoms has been done. We'll start with carbon first. 4 on the left and 1 on the right? Well, we'll fix that with 4 CO2 molecules. And then the hydrogens with 5 molecules of water. That's everything done except for oxygen, which is now a long way out. Checking the products, we have 8 oxygen atoms in the CO2 and 5 in the H2O. Okay, that gives us 13 in total. Now, the only place we can put a balancing number in our reactants is in front of the oxygen. And to get 13 oxygens, that would need to be 6.5. We can't do that as we need to use whole numbers in our equations. So it might look like we're stuck, but in fact, there's an easy way out. We simply double everything. We now have 2 butanes, 13 molecules of oxygen, 8 carbon dioxides, and 10 molecules of H2O. Everything balances, and once again, we're done. One last equation, but this time I'm going to leave it up for a few seconds so you can pause the video and work through it yourself before I go through the solution. So, working through this one, I've noticed a problem straight away, that there's an even number of oxygens on the left and an odd number on the right. Now, the only way forward is to get both sides to be even numbers. So I'm going to start by doubling the quantity of aluminium oxide in our product. Now we have 4 aluminiums on the right, so we'll just ask for 4 lots in our reactants too. That fixes aluminium and it doesn't affect anything else. So let's move on and look at oxygen. 2 times 3 on the right gives us 6 oxygens, and of course that means we'll need 3 molecules of O2 in our reactants to balance it. A quick check, and once again we can see that our aluminium and our oxygen are both in agreement, and so we're done. At this point, you have the basics. What you need now is practice. Balancing equations is a skill, and like any other skill, you get faster and better the more you practice it. Fortunately, I have a whole set of these for you, ready to go on my Patreon page. It's free to join, free to download, and the answers are free too. My entire purpose here is simply to help people to learn chemistry. So grab a sheet, have a go, and if you get stuck, ask a question down in the comments below. Balancing equations is only the start of a journey into working out the masses of chemicals that are involved in a reaction. And if you'd like to join me on a journey to become an expert at quantitative chemistry, then there's a whole set of videos available on this channel. So please, like this one, subscribe to the channel, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. Bye for now.